Malek Niha, or simple basic English ka. Don't use any violate, ChatGPT said. Perfect. I can write part 1 of your HFY sci-fi story in third-person style, about 1,800 words, simple and engaging English, and fully safe. Here's part 1. Part 1. The Ordinary Princess. Princess Leora sat by the tall crystal window of her chambers, watching the twin suns dip behind the floating towers of the capital. From her room high above the city, the sky seemed endless, a swirl of orange and violet light reflecting off the polished surfaces of alien spires and flying ships. Yet, despite the beauty, Leora felt a heaviness in her chest. She was a princess, a human princess, and yet everyone seemed to think she was ordinary. It was not a secret. From the moment she was born, humans were seen as the simple ones among the stars. Other species had abilities beyond imagination, telepathy, energy manipulation, shape-shifting, but humans were plain. Humans were clever, yes, but not flashy, not remarkable, and that label of ordinary had followed Leora everywhere. Her parents, King Aelion and Queen Maris, ruled wisely and kindly. They loved her deeply, but they could not hide the truth from her. Leora's life was full of lessons in diplomacy, history, and protocol. But she longed for something more, something extraordinary. A soft knock echoed at her door. "Come in," she called, brushing a lock of dark hair behind her shoulder. The door slid open, revealing Prince KL, a tall alien with deep green eyes and hair like liquid silver. He bowed gracefully, his presence both regal and confident. "Your Highness," he said, "the council awaits your attendance for the evening ceremony." Leora sighed softly. The ceremonies were always long and tiring. Nobles from dozens of systems would gather, exchanging favors and whispers, discussing alliances and politics. Every eye would be on her, yet none would see her. To them, she was the quiet human princess. Ordinary. "I will be there shortly," Leora said, standing and smoothing her simple gown. The gown shimmered faintly, dyed with human fabrics that could never match the grandeur of alien silks. She felt the contrast keenly, as if the world itself were a reminder of her smallness. Kale studied her for a moment. "I do not understand why you seem so troubled," he said softly. "Among humans, you are rare. Among aliens, you are mysterious. Many wonder about you." Leora shook her head, managing a faint smile. "Mysterious? I am just human, nothing more." But even as she said it, a spark of curiosity flickered within her. She had always felt there was something more to humans. Something hidden. She did not know what it was yet, but a strange pull had begun to tug at her heart, something she could not explain. The palace corridors were alive with activity that evening. Alien ambassadors floated gracefully on hover pads, while humans moved briskly on the solid floors. The walls were adorned with murals showing the history of the kingdom, from the first human settlers among the stars to the grand treaties with other worlds. Leora walked beside Kale, noting the familiar faces of council members who nodded politely but said nothing truly meaningful. The ceremony took place in the Grand Hall, a space large enough to hold hundreds, with ceilings that reflected the stars themselves. Leora took her place at the front, flanked by her parents. The speeches began. Kings and queens from other systems praised the human kingdom's contributions to peace and trade, yet there was an undercurrent of doubt. In whispered tones, many questioned if humans were truly capable of handling the responsibilities of the interstellar stage. Leora listened quietly, her hands folded in front of her. Every compliment felt hollow, every glance of curiosity like a weight pressing down. She longed to do something, anything to show that humans were more than what others expected. After the ceremony, she retreated to a small balcony overlooking the palace gardens. The air was cool, scented with alien flowers that glowed faintly in the evening. She let herself breathe deeply, letting the wind carry away the tightness in her chest. It was then that she noticed a small figure at the edge of the garden, a messenger, cloaked in a simple robe, moving carefully among the glowing plants. Leora frowned. No one ever came to her personally without an announcement. Curiosity overrode caution. She descended the stairs quietly, her gown brushing against the marble. The messenger bowed deeply. "Princess Leora," he said, voice low and urgent, "I bring a message of great importance. A legend. A path. And a choice." Leora's brow furrowed. "Speak plainly," she said. He hesitated, then handed her a small, metallic device that unfolded into a holographic map. A glowing point marked a distant world, almost at the edge of known space. "This is the location of the ancient gate," he said. "It has been dormant for centuries. Only one with a human soul can awaken it. You are the one who must go." Leora's heart skipped a beat. The ancient gate. She had heard whispers of it as a child, a structure older than any known civilization, capable of unlocking powers hidden deep within the universe. Many had sought it, but none had succeeded. It was said to reveal true potential to those brave enough to touch it. "Why me?" she asked, trembling slightly. "Because humans are different," the messenger said. "You are ordinary, yet ordinary is your strength. The gate will recognize your courage, your compassion, your adaptability. No alien has ever passed its trials." Leora stared at the glowing map, a mixture of fear and excitement stirring within her. Ordinary, brave, capable. Words she had never associated with herself. Could she really do this? Could an ordinary human one who had spent her life in shadows truly face a power older than the stars? Her parents had always taught her to be careful, to think before acting. Yet, for the first time, Leora felt a tug toward something beyond caution, something that called to the part of her she had always hidden, the part that wanted adventure, wanted to be seen, wanted to matter. That night, as the palace slept, Leora packed a small satchel. She included a few essentials: a compact weapon for emergencies, a device for translating alien languages, and a notebook to record anything extraordinary she might encounter. Kale found her in the hall, surprise in his eyes. "You're leaving?" he asked, voice low. "I must," Leora said, determination in her tone. "The ancient gate. It calls me. I cannot ignore it." Kale studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "Then I will accompany you. If the journey is dangerous, we face it together." The first step of her adventure began before dawn. They boarded a sleek ship, its hull gleaming in the morning light. Leora gazed out at the city, shrinking beneath them, the towers and bridges of her homeworld slipping into the distance. She felt a strange mixture of fear and exhilaration. This was not just a journey across space, it was a journey to discover herself. Days passed as the ship traveled through asteroid fields and shimmering nebulae. Leora spent her time learning from Kale and the few other crew members who had been entrusted with the mission. She proved herself clever and adaptable, navigating complex star charts and solving unexpected technical problems. Every challenge reminded her that being human did not mean being powerless. One night, as she gazed out at the stars, Leora thought of the ancient gate. What awaited her there? Would she fail? Or would she unlock the potential within herself that no one had seen before? The uncertainty was frightening, yet somehow comforting. For the first time, she felt that she was no longer merely ordinary. She was someone who could change the fate of worlds. And though she did not yet know it, the ancient gate would reveal more than power. It would reveal the truth about humans, their courage, their ingenuity, and their ability to rise when the universe least expected it. The journey was only beginning, but Princess Leora had taken her first true step into the unknown. Princess Leora stood on the viewing deck of the starship Aurora Wind, watching the stars stretch into long silver lines as the ship entered hyperspace. The smooth hum of the engines echoed softly through the metallic floor. It was calming, almost like a gentle melody that helped her breathe easier. This journey was unlike anything she had ever taken. She was far from the palace, far from the safe routines she knew, and far from the identity of ordinary that had followed her since childhood. Beside her stood Prince Kale. His tall frame and calm presence gave her courage. Unlike others, he did not treat her as weak or simple. He watched her quietly, as if he understood her thoughts without needing to speak. "You're thinking again," he said gently, breaking the silence. Leora smiled. "I'm always thinking. About the ancient gate?" "Yes," she admitted. "I keep wondering why humans are connected to it. Why would such an old and powerful structure answer only to us?" Kale folded his arms. "Sometimes the simplest things open the greatest doors." Leora tilted her head. "Simple? Is that how you see humans?" Kale shook his head. "No. I think humans are adaptable. And that makes you special." Leora turned back to the window, watching the stars flicker as the ship shifted between navigation points. She wanted to believe Kale's words. She wanted to believe that humans had something unique within them, something strong, but she had never seen any proof. The aurora wind continued through space for several days. Leora spent the time training her mind and her instincts. She learned navigation. She learned how to analyze alien symbols. She even learned how to handle basic tools used during exploration. The crew admired her effort. They whispered about her determination, but always respectfully. Leora felt their trust growing. One afternoon, the ship's alarm gave a soft chime, signaling their exit from hyperspace. Captain Riva, a skilled alien pilot with sapphire blue skin, approached Leora and Kale. "We will arrive near the Veil Nebula soon," she told them. "The ancient gate is located on a planet hidden within mist and gravity storms. We must be cautious." Leora nodded. "I understand. Thank you, Captain." Kale studied a floating hologram of the surrounding area. "What dangers are we expecting?" Riva tapped the glowing display. "Energy waves, gravity shifts, unstable terrain. And there are rumors that ancient guardians still watch the area." Leora felt a small shiver run down her spine, not fear, but anticipation. The ancient gate was real, and soon she would see it. As the aurora wind approached the nebula, the view outside the windows transformed into a swirling sea of colors, violet, blue, and pale gold. It was beautiful but also unsettling. The light pulsed like a living heartbeat, drifting across the ship. Gravity began to shift. The ship trembled. "Hold steady," Captain Riva called out. Leora gripped the nearest railing. She felt the pressure on her shoulders increase. Kael stepped closer, steadying her with a light touch. The ship pushed forward, weaving through waves of shimmering mist. The nebula responded with bursts of radiant light, making the navigation systems flicker. "This is unlike anything we've seen," Riva murmured. Leora tried to stay calm, focusing on the stars beneath the storm. She had dreamed of adventure. Now she was living it. After long minutes of careful maneuvering, the shaking stopped. The mist cleared. And there, far below them, was a planet glowing with deep blue oceans and silver mountains. Rings of ancient structures circled it like silent sentinels. Captain Riva exhaled slowly. "We've made it. The planet of Elendra, the home of the ancient gate." Leora stared in awe. She could feel something calling to her. A soft hum inside her chest, as if the planet recognized her presence. Kale noticed her expression. "You feel it too?" "Yes," Leora whispered. "It feels alive." The ship descended gently through the atmosphere. The clouds opened to reveal shining plains of crystal grass and rivers that reflected the sky like a mirror. Strange creatures roamed the fields, tall, gentle beings with glowing lines down their backs. They watched the ship descend but did not flee. The landing site was near a large ridge covered in metallic vines. From the ridge, a faint blue glow illuminated the air. Leora knew instantly what it was. "The gate," she breathed. After gathering supplies, Leora, Kale, and a small exploration team stepped onto the planet's surface. The air smelled fresh, with hints of minerals and sweet pollen. The ground felt smooth, almost polished. Leora glanced around, fascinated. "Everything looks untouched. As if time doesn't pass here." Kale nodded. "This place is ancient. The energy here is different." They followed a narrow path toward the ridge. The glowing light grew brighter with every step. As they walked, They passed strange pillars, etched with symbols that shimmered faintly when Leora drew near. "There is something reacting to you," Kale observed. Leora hesitated, touching one of the symbols. It lit up instantly, sending a ripple of blue light across its surface. The crew gasped softly. "Only you," Kale said. Leora pulled her hand back slowly. Her heart raced. She felt a deep connection, one she did not understand. They continued onward until they reached a wide-open clearing, and there it stood. The ancient gate, a massive arc-shaped structure, taller than the palace towers, floating several feet above the ground. It was made of stone, metal, and something else, something that looked like stars condensed into matter. Its surface was covered in glowing lines that ran like rivers of light. Leora felt as if the entire universe had suddenly grown silent. Kale stepped close, awe in his voice. "This is older than any known civilization." The gate pulsed gently, sending waves of energy across the clearing. Leora sensed it, responding to her presence. It was waiting, but before she could step closer, the ground suddenly trembled. Captain Riva looked around. Energy wave incoming. The ridge behind them split open, revealing swirling clouds of silver dust. From within, the dust emerged tall, shimmering figures, ancient guardians made of pure energy. Their bodies glowed like the gate, their shapes shifting like liquid metal. Leora gasped softly. She had never seen anything so striking and peaceful at the same time. Kale positioned himself calmly beside her. "They are not attacking. They are observing." One guardian moved forward, its form smooth and graceful. It projected a soft light toward Leora. She felt a pulse of warmth. "It recognizes me," she whispered. The guardian extended an arm-like shape. Leora slowly reached her hand toward the light. When their energies met, she saw flashes of visions, planets forming, stars being born, humans walking through ancient ruins. She understood a single message: "You are the key." The guardian stepped back, giving her a clear path to the gate. Kale looked at her with concern and admiration. "Leora, are you ready?" "I don't know," she admitted honestly. "But I must try." She walked toward the ancient gate. With every step, the glowing lines on the gate brightened. Blue waves flowed through them like living streams. The entire structure began to hum gently, harmonizing with her heartbeat. When she reached the center of the arc, she raised her hand. The air tingled around her fingers. She touched the gate. Instantly, a surge of warm energy wrapped around her, not painful, not frightening, but powerful and welcoming. The symbols on the gate danced with light. A spiral of glowing particles rose around her, lifting her slightly off the ground. Kyle stepped forward instinctively, but the guardians held him back with a peaceful signal. Leora floated within the light, feeling her mind expand. Her senses sharpened. She could hear vibrations in the air. She could feel the emotions of her team behind her. She sensed the ancient memories buried within the gate. She saw humans, early humans, touching the gate long ago. She saw how the gate unlocked hidden potential within them. Courage, insight, resilience. It was not about magic or impossible powers. It was about awakening what was already inside. Leora understood. Humans were not weaker. They had strength hidden deep within their hearts. Strength born from struggle, hope, and dreams. Slowly, the light lowered her back to the ground. The glow around the gate softened. The guardians bowed to her before fading into silver dust that returned to the ridge. Kale rushed to her, eyes wide with concern. "Are you all right?" Leora took a deep breath. "Yes. Better than I thought." "What did you see?" he asked. She looked at the gate, then at her own hands. They still held a faint shimmer. "I saw the truth about humans," she said softly. "We are not ordinary. We were never ordinary." Kyle smiled, warm, proud, relieved. "I knew it, but the journey wasn't over." The gate had awakened something inside her, and it had revealed one more vision. A threat coming from the stars, a danger only she could face. Her adventure had only begun. The wind swept across the crystal plains of Alindra as Princess Leora stood at the center of the ancient gate. Her chest still hummed with the energy she had felt, and the faint glow on her fingers reminded her that something had changed within her. She had seen the truth about humans, the courage, adaptability, and hidden potential they carried, but she did not yet fully understand what it meant for her or for the worlds beyond. Kale stood beside her, scanning the horizon. "The Guardians are gone," he said, voice low. "But the gate, it is still alive. It watches you," Leora nodded. "I can feel it. It's like it's part of me now." She lifted her hand again, tracing the lines of the gate. The glowing symbols pulsed in response, as if recognizing her touch. "It's waiting for me to do something." "But what?" Captain Riva approached, her expression serious. "Princess, the scans show unusual energy readings. I think the gate has changed something in the surrounding fields. We should be cautious." But Leora was already moving. She stepped toward the gate, each footfall lighter than before, her senses attuned to the hum of the energy around her. It was not fear, she felt it was understanding. A part of her that had always felt small was now connected to something much greater, something that seemed infinite. As she reached the center of the gate again, a spiral of light rose around her. This time, it was stronger, more intense, and it felt as if it were reaching into her very mind. She closed her eyes, letting it guide her. Visions flashed before her eyes. She saw planets forming, stars colliding, civilizations rising and falling. But among all of these cosmic scenes, one image stood out. A distant world, threatened by a dark energy, a force that sought to consume everything in its path. Leora understood instinctively that this was a future she must face. Kale's voice called softly, "Leora, are you all right?" She opened her eyes, the glow of the gate reflecting in her pupils. "I'm more than all right," she said. "I can feel. I can see. I can understand things I never could before." Riva stepped closer. "The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever the gate has done, it's changed you completely." Leora flexed her fingers, feeling a subtle power she could not yet explain. The air seemed to respond to her thoughts, the crystals beneath her feet glimmering in harmony. She realized then that her human nature, her courage, her empathy, her curiosity was the key. This was not just strength like the aliens possessed. This was something different, something unique to humans. Kale studied her carefully. "Then, humans really are different," he said quietly. "I knew there was more to you." Leora smiled faintly. "I think I'm only beginning to understand it myself." The gate pulsed one final time, then slowly dimmed, leaving Leora standing in a soft, gentle glow. She felt calm, balanced, and connected. But she knew that the awakening had only just begun. The visions of the dark energy, the threatened world, haunted her thoughts. She could not ignore them. That evening, as the sun set over Elindra's silver mountains, Leora sat with Kale and Captain Riva to discuss the next steps. "The gate has given you abilities we can barely understand," Riva said. "But if the vision is correct, there is a danger coming, something powerful enough to threaten more than one world. We must prepare." Leora nodded. "I know. And I know how to face it." She hesitated. "The humans, my people, they have a strength no one realizes. Courage, hope, adaptability. That's what the gate recognizes. That's what I must use." KL leaned closer. "Then we'll face it together. You are not alone in this, Leora." Leora felt a warmth in her chest. The journey had already changed her, but having allies beside her made the unknown less frightening. Together, they would travel beyond Elendra, beyond known space, to prepare for the coming challenge. The next day, the exploration team began charting the surrounding terrain. The planet was alive with strange creatures and plants, many of which seemed to respond to Leora's presence. Birds with translucent wings flew close to her, their songs harmonizing with the faint energy pulses from the gate. Even the crystal grass seemed to shimmer brighter where she walked. "This planet, it's more than a home for the gate," Leora said softly. Riva nodded. We need to study it carefully. It may hold clues about how the gate works, and how to face the threats you saw. Over the next few days, Leora trained. She learned to sense energy in her surroundings, to focus her mind and her emotions, and to connect with the flow of the planet itself. She discovered she could manipulate small pulses of energy, guiding light along the paths of the crystals or shifting floating stones slightly with concentration. Kale watched her progress with admiration. "You are learning quickly," he said. "Faster than anyone else could." Leora shook her head. "It's not just learning. It's feeling, understanding. I can sense how the gate wants me to act, how the energy flows. It's natural." One night, Leora sat beneath a glowing tree, its leaves sparkling like stars. She closed her eyes and let her senses drift. She felt the heartbeat of the planet, the rhythm of the crystals, and a subtle pull toward the distant worlds she had seen in her visions. One in particular tugged at her stronger than the others, a planet threatened by dark energy, its people unaware of the danger. "I have to go there," she whispered. "I have to help them before it's too late." Kale placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Then we will go together. We will prepare, and we will face it." The next morning, the team gathered around the ship. Leora felt a strange mixture of excitement and seriousness. Elindra had been a place of awakening, but now it was time to use what she had learned. The gate had changed her, and she could not ignore the responsibilities it had shown her. Before leaving, she walked back to the gate one last time. The structure loomed over her, silent yet alive. She placed her hand on the cold metal once more, feeling the faint pulse of energy beneath her palm. "Thank you," she whispered. "I understand now. I will not fail." The gate responded with a soft glow, as if acknowledging her promise. As the aurora wind lifted off from Elindra, the planet shrinking behind them, Leora felt a surge of determination. She had discovered the hidden power within herself, the strength of humanity, and the ability to face challenges greater than she had ever imagined. Yet, she also knew the journey ahead would test her in ways she could not yet foresee. The journey to the threatened world was long. The ship traveled through uncharted systems, past shimmering nebulae and asteroid belts that gleamed like diamonds. Along the way, Leora learned more about her abilities. She could sense disturbances in the energy fields around her, detect hidden obstacles, and even communicate subtle messages through pulses of light and thought. One evening, as the ship drifted near a pale green planet, the sensors picked up a faint energy surge, similar to the one from Elindra, but weaker. "Something is here," Riva said. "It's unusual, almost like a warning." Leora closed her eyes, focusing. She felt the energy shift, a dark tension that made her heart race. The gate had shown her this kind of threat before. She knew instinctively that danger was approaching. Kale looked at her with concern. "Are you ready?" She nodded firmly. "I have to be. The people on that world, they need us." The ship entered the planet's atmosphere carefully. The view outside was striking vast oceans, towering mountains, and cities that glittered like jewels. But Leora could feel the tension beneath the beauty, the invisible shadow that threatened to spread. Landing near the outskirts of a city, Leora and her team stepped onto the planet. She felt the air buzzing faintly with energy, subtle but ominous. The citizens below moved unaware, living their daily lives, oblivious to the danger approaching. Leora took a deep breath. "We must warn them, and we must prepare them. They cannot face this alone." Kale nodded. "Then we begin now." Together, Leora and her team started teaching the people about energy, defense, and courage. They shared knowledge without instilling fear, helping the citizens understand the importance of unity and hope. Leora's presence inspired them. She was not a goddess, not a being of impossible power, but a human who had discovered the extraordinary within herself. That alone gave the people strength. Over the following days, the shadow's approach became clearer. Disturbances in the sky, faint tremors in the earth, and strange energy spikes reminded everyone that the threat was real. Yet, thanks to Leora, The people faced it with courage, not panic. One night, standing on a cliff overlooking the city, Leora raised her hand toward the stars. A faint glow emanated from her fingertips, and she felt the gate's energy within her. She understood something now. This was only the beginning. The true test of her strength, and of humanity's potential, was yet to come. But for the first time in her life, Princess Leora did not feel ordinary. She felt alive. She felt capable. She felt ready. And as the wind swept across the cliffs, carrying the scent of the sea and the hum of the planet's energy, she knew that the universe itself had chosen her, not for being perfect, but for being human. Princess Leora stood atop the cliff, gazing at the dark horizon. The shadow she had seen in her visions was approaching fast. The sky above the distant city pulsed with a strange energy, deep purples, silvers, and hints of red, as if the universe itself was warning her of the danger to come. She could feel the hum of the gate inside her, a constant reminder that she was not ordinary. Humans, she realized, had potential that even the greatest civilizations sometimes overlooked. Beside her, Prince Kale tightened his grip on a small energy device. Captain Riva adjusted the ship's sensors, tracking the approaching threat. The citizens below had been trained, guided by Leora and her team, but this was their first true test. Leora closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She could feel the energy in the air, in the ground, even in the hearts of the people below. The gate had awakened her senses, and now she could sense the movements of the shadow before it even arrived. "They're coming," she whispered, opening her eyes. "And we have to face them together." The first wave of the dark energy arrived like a storm. It wasn't a creature in the usual sense, but a shifting force of raw power, moving through the sky like liquid shadow. It spread with speed, consuming light and causing the air to crackle with tension. People screamed and froze in fear, but Leora stepped forward, raising her hands. "Everyone," she called, her voice strong and calm. "Do not be afraid. You have strength. You have courage. Together, we can face this." Her words carried far, almost as if they were amplified by the energy of the gate within her. The citizens felt it. And slowly, fear turned into determination. They took positions Leora had taught them, focusing on unity and confidence rather than panic. Kale stood beside her, eyes narrowed. "Ready?" he asked. Leora nodded. "We begin." She raised her hand toward the approaching shadow. The energy from the gate flowed through her, creating a protective aura around the city. The dark force collided with the aura, scattering and twisting in the sky, unable to penetrate the shield. Leora felt the pulse of the shadow, its intent to destroy, but also its confusion at her resistance. She focused, reaching deeper into the gate's energy. Small streams of light shot from her fingertips, weaving patterns in the air, connecting with the people below. Their courage, amplified by her power, created a network of strength. The shadow lashed out, but the united force of humans and Leora's energy held firm. For hours, they battled without weapons, without destruction. It was a contest of energy, willpower, and unity. Leora felt herself growing stronger with every pulse, her connection to the gate deepening. She saw the hidden potential in every human below, their ability to adapt, to endure, to shine in the face of danger. At one point, a ripple of doubt tried to creep into her mind. She wondered if it was too much, if the shadow was too powerful. But then she remembered the first time she touched the gate, the pulse that had recognized her heart. She remembered her people, their courage, and her promise to protect them. That memory pushed the doubt aside. Leora closed her eyes and focused on a single thought: hope. The energy from the gate responded instantly, transforming into radiant streams that surrounded the shadow, holding it in place. The dark force struggled, twisting and writhing, but the light was stronger. Kale moved beside her, linking his own energy with hers. Though he was powerful, he could not match the unique connection Leora had with the gate. Together, they strengthened the bond, and the shadow began to retreat, unable to withstand the combined power of human determination and ancient energy. The citizens below cheered, feeling the shadow dissipate. Their fear turned into joy, their uncertainty into pride. They had faced something greater than themselves, and survived not because of weapons or machines, but because of courage, unity, and belief in something larger than fear. Leora looked around. The city was safe, the shadow gone. Her hands glowed faintly, the last traces of the gate's energy slowly settling into her being. She had done it, not just as a princess, not just as a human, but as someone who had unlocked the hidden potential within herself and inspired others to do the same. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. You did it, Leora. You showed them, and everyone watching, that humans are not ordinary. Leora smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. We did it, she corrected. That night, the citizens held a celebration. Not just for their survival, but for the bravery and unity they had discovered within themselves. Leora walked among them, not as a distant princess, but as a leader who had proven her strength alongside her people. She shook hands, shared smiles, and listened to stories of courage and kindness from those who had once doubted themselves. Later, standing atop the cliff again, Leora looked at the stars. She could feel the gate's energy within her. Quiet now, steady, as if it were a part of her being. She understood that this was not the end. The shadow had been only the first challenge. The universe was vast, full of mysteries, dangers, and wonders yet to be discovered. Her thoughts returned to her home, the human kingdoms, and the other civilizations she had seen in her travels. They would need guidance, inspiration, and courage. Leora knew she could be that bridge, showing that humans could rise to challenges beyond expectation. Kale joined her silently. What now? He asked. Leora looked out at the horizon. Now, she said, we prepare. We explore. We learn. And we protect. There will be more shadows, more trials. But we will face them. Humans are capable of extraordinary things. I've seen it now. And I will help them realize it too. Kale nodded. Then I will follow you anywhere. Leora smiled, feeling a sense of calm determination. She had been ordinary once. She had been underestimated, overlooked, and doubted. But now, she was a princess who had faced ancient power, united people, and awakened the hidden potential of her kind. She understood that being human was not a weakness, it was a strength, courage, empathy, adaptability, and hope. That was what made them extraordinary. The next morning, Leora prepared to leave the planet with Kale and Captain Riva. They would continue their journey across the stars, searching for other challenges, other worlds in need, and other mysteries to uncover. The gate's energy flowed through her, steady and strong, ready for the next adventure. Before stepping onto the ship, Leora placed her hand once more on the faint glow of the planet's crystal plains. Thank you, she whispered. You have shown me who I am, and who we can be. The ship lifted into the sky, leaving Alindra behind. From orbit, Leora looked down at the glowing city, proud of what had been accomplished. The people below were no longer afraid. They were inspired, brave, and united. Humans, she realized, had a light within them that could shine brighter than any shadow. As the aurora wind sailed through the stars, Leora stood at the observation deck, looking at the endless universe. She could feel the gate's energy humming within her, connecting her to distant worlds, distant civilizations, and the infinite possibilities ahead. And for the first time in her life, Princess Leora felt completely ordinary no longer. She was human, extraordinary, and ready to rise to whatever challenges the universe would send her way. The stars stretched before her like a path of light, and she would follow them, bringing hope, courage, and the human spirit to every corner of the galaxy. For Princess Leora was no longer just a princess. She was a symbol, a protector, a reminder that ordinary humans could accomplish the extraordinary. The universe had seen her rise, and it would never forget it.